Hi everyone, and welcome back to First the Coffee Crochet. In this tutorial we're going to go over how to make the extra long crochet throw pattern. Now this is a really easy pattern to make. It's just mainly, except for the first and last row of the blanket, it's just a one row repeat, and the only changes you'll be making up is the colors as you go through it. So this pattern is in US terms, and the finished size of the blanket is 47 inches wide by 65.5 inches long. If you want to change the width, your initial foundation chain needs to just be a multiple of 3 plus 1. And if you want to change the height of the blanket, each repeat block of color will add 5 inches to your length. Turning chains are not used at the beginning of the main repeat rows of this, and row 1 is worked in the back loop of the foundation chain. Now for this foundation chain, since we do have a long foundation chain going, you will want to chain this loosely. One way, if you have a problem doing loose chains, is to use a bigger hook size and go up either a 0.5 millimeter or 1 millimeter in size for your hook size, just for your foundation chain only. So to make this blanket, you'll need a total of 2,905 yards of a number 4 medium weight yarn. I did use 3 colors in this, and yardage by color is for color A 903 yards, color B 1,335 yards, color C 667 yards. The yarn I used in this blanket is Lion Brand's Pound of Love yarn, and for that, with these colors, you'll need 1 skein for color A, 2 for color B, and 1 for color C. You'll also need a 6mm crochet hook. Stitch markers are optional. You'll want a yarn needle to weave in your ends and a pair of scissors. So again, this blanket is worked in 3 colors, and each color block is 14 rows, except for your first block of color A and your last block of color A, in which case it's 15 rows because the first and last row are different from the repeat rows. And as always, there is a written version of this pattern available on my website, and I will leave a link for that down below. So let's go ahead and get started. So to start out, we're going to go ahead and make our slip knot, and we'll be starting in our first color, color A. Okay, and this color A that I'm using is the Lion Brand Pound of Love in Cascade. So for our starting chain, we're going to chain 151, and you're going to want to chain that loosely. Now if you do have trouble chaining loosely, you can also just go up a hook size. So you could do a 6.5 millimeter or a 7 millimeter crochet hook, and then just do only your chain in that for your foundation chain, and then go back to the 6 millimeter for row 1. So we'll start out with our foundation chain. Now since I am just doing a sample, I'm going to have a shorter chain. So for row 1, all we're going to do is single crochets all the way across, and we're going to be working in the back bump of our chain. So when you're looking at a foundation chain, you'll have the front of it here. And a lot of times when you're doing your first row, you'll be going into the top parts of the chain. But when you're working in the back bump, you turn it over, and you see these little parts back here that are the back bumps of the chain. So we'll be going into those. So that's our first one, and this is our second one. And the second one is where we're going to start. So in our second chain from the hook, we're just going to do a single crochet stitch. So you're just going to insert your hook, yarn over and pull up a stitch. Then you're going to yarn over and pull through both loops on your hook, and that'll give you your first single crochet. We're just going to do a single crochet in each chain all the way across. So if you did the 151 chains, you'll have 150 stitches at the end of row 1. Okay, so once you've done your last stitch of row 1, row 2 is where we're going to go into the main repeat row of this blanket. And this is the stitch combo that you're going to be doing throughout the entire blanket until you get to the very last row. So on these rows, we are not going to use a turning chain. Instead, what we're going to do is a stacked single crochet, and that will count as a double crochet stitch at the beginning of each row. So to do this at the beginning of the row, instead of chaining here, we're just going to turn initially. And then in this first stitch here, we're going to do 1 single crochet. So now we have a single crochet stitch. And then we're going to do a single crochet into the single crochet stitch we just did. So you have your 2 bars here. We're just going to stick our hook through those 2 bars, and we're going to pull up another loop, and we're just going to do a single crochet stitch again. So that'll count as our double crochet stitch. This will help give us a nice even edge all the way up the blanket. So now in the same first stitch, we're going to do a double crochet. So you're just going to yarn over, insert your hook into the stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop. You'll have 3 loops on your hook. You'll yarn over and pull through 2, and then yarn over and pull through 2 more. Now we're going to skip our next stitch, and then the following stitch after that we're going to do 1 single crochet stitch. So you just insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, and then yarn over and pull through both. Right, so then in the next stitch we're going to do 2 double crochet stitches in that 1 stitch. Then we're going to skip a stitch, and we'll do 1 single crochet in the following stitch. And that's all our repeat is going to be throughout the whole row, is 2 double crochet stitches in our next stitch here, skip a stitch, and do a single crochet. So just repeat that all the way across your row. In your next stitch, 2 double crochets, skip the next stitch, and a single crochet in the following stitch. So you can go ahead and pause the video, and I'll meet you back here at the end of row 2. Okay, so your last stitch of the row should be a single crochet stitch. So that is going to be our main stitch for the entire blanket. So again, for row 3, we're going to do the same thing. You're going to turn your work, and in that first stitch you're going to do a single crochet, and then single crochet again into that same stitch you just made, and that will count as our first double crochet stitch. Do another double crochet into that same first stitch, skip our next stitch, and do a single crochet into the following stitch. And then the next stitch after that, we're going to do 2 double crochet stitches into that stitch, skip a stitch, single crochet. Just repeat this all the way across your row, and you'll continue the repeat of this up through row 15. So you can go ahead and pause the video, and I'll meet you back here at the end of row 15. Okay, so once you're at the end of row 15, when you get to this last stitch, you don't want to finish this last stitch off because we're going to be changing colors here. So in our last single crochet, we're going to start our single crochet, but we'll stop here. Go ahead and take your scissors, cut off your tail here. Now you're going to want to get color B. And for this color here, I'm using Lion Brand's Pound of Love Sugar Cookie for color B. So we'll want to get a tail here and put that around our hook. And then we're going to use this to finish off our single crochet. So you'll just pull that through your 2 loops on your hook. And that's how we're going to change our colors. You'll have your tails here. You can just weave them in once you're done, or if you prefer as you go along. And that'll secure off your color change. So again, just like before, we're going to be repeating the same rows as we've done here. The 2 double crochets, skip a stitch, and do a single crochet. And we're going to do it for 14 more rows. So for color B, that's going to be rows 16 through 29. So again, you're just going to turn your work, and starting in that first stitch, do a single crochet, and then single crochet into that stitch you just made. That'll count as our first double crochet. Do another double crochet into that first stitch, skip a stitch, do a single crochet. 2 double crochets in the next stitch, skip a stitch, do a single crochet. So just repeat that all the way across for your row and do that same stitch combo all the way up through row 29. So rows 16 through 29 are your color B. And then when you get to the end of row 29, don't finish off that last stitch because we'll be switching to color C at that point. You go ahead and pause the video and I'll meet you back here at the end of row 29. Okay, so at the end of row 29, like before, we're going to start our last single crochet stitch, but we're not going to finish it. We're going to go ahead and cut off the tail here, so we have that to weave in. Okay, and then we're going to switch to our color C, which for this one is Pumpkin Spice of the Lion brand Pound of Love yarn. And we're just going to put that onto our hook, and we're going to finish off that last single crochet stitch. And now for rows 30 through 43, we're going to continue on with color C. And we'll just keep doing the same stitch here, so we're going to turn our work. And starting in that first stitch there, we're just going to do the single crochet, and then single crochet into that single crochet we just did. Then we're going to do another double crochet in that first stitch. Skip a stitch and do a single crochet. Next stitch, 2 double crochets, skip a stitch, do a single crochet. Just repeat that all the way across and continue that up with color C through row 43. And these are the 3 colors that you will use throughout the blanket. After color C, we go back to color B. So you're just going to have your initial color, the neutral color, and then your second bold color. Go back to the neutral color, and then you start over again. So as you continue on throughout this blanket, if you look at this diagram here, it'll show you which rows go with which corresponding color for the rest of the blanket. And you'll just repeat the same stitches you did all the way up until you reach the very last row, row 184. Once you get to row 184, the last section of this video shows you how to do that last row, and it's just single crochets all the way across. Super easy. You can also find this diagram on my website, and again, the link is down in the description below. And that way you can bring it up and look at this as needed. Okay, so once you get to your last row of the blanket here, what we're going to be doing is going back across on our last row, just doing single crochet stitches. So on the last row, you're going to start out with a turning chain in chain 1 and turn your work, and then starting in that first stitch, just do a single crochet. And then you're just going to do a single crochet in each stitch all the way across the row. Once you get to the end of the row, you can go ahead and fasten off and weave in your ends and enjoy your new blanket. Thanks for watching.